Good afternoon. Thank you so much again for joining us today. And before our next panel takes the stage, I'd like to begin by thanking our sponsor, the California Chamber of Commerce, for their support in today's summit. And I'm delighted to sit down now with someone who I don't believe needs much introduction here in this room, Jennifer Barrera, CalChamber's President and Chief Executive Officer, to discuss how California is shaping the future of AI technology and exploring how decisions made here in Sacramento will chart the course of policy for the nation and really for the world. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so to start us off, California is home to 32 of the world's top 50 AI companies. From your perspective, what gives California its unique edge in AI innovation?
Well, California is just the hub of innovation. I mean, it's in our DNA. We love to be innovators. We love to be exploration into new technologies, into new developments. And so it's just a part of who we are in California. It's in our DNA, it's in our culture, it's what we thrive on. So there's a part of that that's just undeniable here in California. It's why we have, again, Silicon Valley, the tech hub here in California. But there's other components too that really add to the uniqueness of California, and I think why these 32 companies have chosen to be based here in California. We have an incredible workforce, high talent here in California that is due to our higher education system, the community colleges, the CSUs, the UCs, our apprenticeship programs. So we really developed high-level talent here that, again, is the envy of a lot of the rest of the world and certainly the rest of the country. I think, the partnership that was recently announced by the governor and some of the companies developing AI in this space to help them learn and educate our workforce of the future is really smart. It's a great partnership. And again, it kind of just elevates the workforce that we have here. And then we have capital, a ton of capital here in California. Again, Silicon Valley is known for a lot of the venture capitalists. And so that also contributes to the unique nature of California and why I think a lot of the companies are choosing to stay here in California.
As policymakers here in Sacramento weigh how best to encourage AI innovation while also establishing the appropriate safeguards, what principles should guide their approach to AI governance?
Well, it's not really unique or different to how we approach any other policy making with industries. I think, from our perspective, it's the first line is don't do any harm to this industry, right? We want to nurture this industry. It's a huge part of our economy. It's going to be a huge part of our economy in the future. And so we really want to start off with that principle that you regulate in a space where you don't have any unintended consequences or unintended harms to the industry. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not sitting here saying no regulation at all. I think everybody appreciates that there needs to be some type of regulation, but really, again, do no harm. And so that should be one of the guiding principles. Another principle, again, and this is common with any industry that we talk about regulation around, is to have it really be data-driven, evidence-based, focused on real issues and making sure that the regulations are more of a guide instead of like a prescriptive roadmap. This technology is changing rapidly. It's changing faster than we can probably write laws. And so those laws really need to be flexible to keep up with the changing technology so we don't limit that innovation. We don't limit the benefits that we're going to receive from this technology, but addressing the safety or the risks, that everybody has been talking about here today.
So you mentioned that the AI sector is supporting so much of California's economy, hundreds of thousands of jobs, and really poised to create many more as the technology adapts too. So in your opinion, how can AI further strengthen the economic opportunity here in the state?
Yeah, it is already, as you mentioned, it's already being a pretty significant economic driver. I mean, when you talk about those 32 companies and where they're based, it's having this, impact on the local communities. It's creating these high-paying jobs, jobs that weren't even a vision a few years ago are now, being sought after in these companies. And again, high-paying, which is, of course, something we want to focus on. And then it has kind of a trickle-down impact within these local communities. So commercial space is being gobbled up by these AI companies. The small businesses are being frequented more in these areas, and so it really has that huge impact to the local community. But then across the board in the state, of course, it will have a benefit to our statewide economy. Job creation, efficiency is something that we need to focus on with regards to this technology, and it's something that was referenced earlier. The efficiencies that we can get from AI are really going to be a benefit to our economy as well. And it's not just obviously in the tech sector, but we have efficiencies in an energy space. efficiencies in healthcare, efficiencies in agriculture, that AI can all drive those efficiencies, and so we're having greater production in these companies and also a better contributor to our economy. The opportunity is so big with a lot of these technologies, and so I really do think, again, when we talk about regulations, we really want to harness that innovation and those benefits to make sure that we're feeling it here in California.
So let's stick with the regulations for a moment. So you talked about efficiencies, talked about adaptability, but it occurs to me that also collaboration is probably critical to establishing a workable AI governance. So where do you think there's common ground where policymakers, regulators, and the business community can actually work best together to create regulations that can be adaptive and efficient in the right way?
I think what you started off with is key: collaboration, partnership. That partnership that I just referenced with the governor's office and the agreement between the companies to really teach and educate our workforce of the future is huge. I think it's a really good balance to show that you can, you know what I mean, partner with industry. You can harness that innovation and that economic development. And so again, that balanced approach is really kind of what we need to focus on when we talk about our regulators and our policymakers. There is going to be regulation around safety. Again, that's going to be an issue and a development, and I think there's everyone in the industry and policymakers agree that regulation needs to be addressed around safety issues. But finding that balance and that partnership is really key, and I think, again, that overlap is going to be important to have any responsible regulation in this space.
So let's look forward, jump in the time machine for a year when we're sitting back on this stage for our second annual Sacramento summit. What gives you the confidence that California can remain the model for responsible for AI governance globally? Like, what would you say, or what would you want to say in a year from now when we're sitting on this stage again?
I will guarantee you we'll still be talking about AI. That's an absolute. But what I also think, that gives me hope is, again, just kind of who California is. I think there is so much promise in this technology and what it can do for everyday Californians and what it can do across all different sectors, that both the policymakers and the industry leaders and the governor, all of them recognize that benefit, and they are going to act in a way, obviously, to try and benefit consumers with the development of this technology and the rollout of this technology to broader groups. So I really am optimistic that we're going to be able to find that balance. That's what California is known for, again, is setting the stage for the rest of the country and the world when we develop this policy. I have no doubt that we'll be able to do it here with AI.
Okay, well, we'll check back in a year from now.
Sounds good.
We'll see how we've been doing. Jennifer, I know that we've just started to dive in on this issue that we could continue to talk about for much longer, but unfortunately that is all the time we have. But very much appreciate your time, your insights, and the supports from CalChamber to make this summit possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.